Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
When you need to stay connected with friends and families at home or abroad, the best choice for you is Freedom. CCT Freedom. With the lowest rates in the market, our Freedom plan gives you unlimited calls and texting. Plus, our Freedom One package includes 10 gigabits of super fast, unlimited LTE data and unlimited calls to the BVI, USA, USVI, Canada, Puerto Rico, and UK lines. Why pay for overages when you can enjoy CCT Freedom? Stop by at one of our stores today and speak with one of our representatives to find out more about our CCT Freedom packages. In today's news, Deputy Governor calls out to the media.
BVI community has not been pleased with the random pop-up shops.
Andre Norford charged for murder.
Your weekly arrest blotter.
USVI's government sues Epstein Estates, and Violet and Golden remanded to federal custody for money embezzlement. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
Everyone looks to the future, but no one truly knows what the future holds.
The number of people under the age of 20 with type 2 diabetes could increase by 49% by 2050. Let it be known that we all have a 30% chance of developing hypertension.
Globally, more than 300 million people of all ages suffer from depression.
More than 60,000 young adults aged 20 to 39 are diagnosed with cancer each year. Obesity leads to problems such as stroke, heart disease, and kidney failure.
No matter your race, age, or color, we are all at risk.
These diseases can be managed or prevented if caught early.
But with the right medicine and the right doctors to keep us on a path to live a robust and healthy life,
we will live well.
Welcome, everyone. It is Thursday, January 16, 2020. Whether you're joining us from 284media.com, on Facebook, or on YouTube, my name is Javon Wilson.
And I'm Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
Kyla, a lot to get into today. Per usual, full day for 284 Media today. We did a lot today, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Viewers, we have a lot coming your way, but let's just get straight into your newscast. Deputy Governor David Archer is seemingly disappointed by what appears to be an attempt by a local media house to suggest that the judicial system lacks integrity. All of this is coming out of a story that saw Mr. Kavern Richards, brother of Magistrate Tamia Richards, recently being granted bail in the amount of $50,000 for unlawful possession of explosives and carrying a firearm without a license. The statement says, in any society, an independent and honorable judiciary is indispensable to justice. This system of government was built by noble men and women who ensured that the integrity and independence of the judiciary was preserved throughout the years of its existence. This is why, as Deputy Governor, I find it important to reference an article with blogs that were posted by one of our media houses with the headline, quote, Magistrate's brother granted $50,000 bail for gun-related charges. I find it important to note that the decision in this case was handed down by Magistrate Crystalline Benjamin and not by Senior Magistrate Tamia Richards. The laws that have been instituted have guided our judiciary for many years now. The system involves a close working relationship between the police, the courts, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the Attorney General's chambers. Canons of judicial ethics would disqualify a judicial center, such as a magistrate, from presiding over any matter and having any involvement in his or her public capacity, both seen and unseen, in which his or her impartiality may be reasonably questioned, including a case involving a relative. Where a conflict of interest arises, the matter is then listed for hearing before another judicial officer that is not conflicted. Each judicial officer has complete judicial independence from the other, and the assigned judicial officer will be able to render whatever decision he or she considers according to the law, free from any interference of the conflicted judicial officer. The public should also have full confidence that the Code of Judicial Conduct of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court and the common law practice on the Court of the Judicial Officers will continue to serve as the standard that the judiciary will be required to follow in the territory of the Virgin Islands. He further said that persons who have legitimate complaints about improper conduct by judicial officers should make such complaints under confidential correspondence to the Deputy Governor's office. So Kyla, here we have a story where we see the deputy governor, of course, being very concerned about the responsibility of media. And, you know, we happen to fall into that bracket.
Definitely.
And we understand the importance of impartiality, of being honest and upholding our integrity, but more importantly, the fact that we hold such powerful information in our hands and the way it guides the public. So we have to be very careful with our statements and what we put out there because, you know, like many suggest, the media is the fourth arm of government.
I agree. You mentioned responsibility. The media has a big responsibility when it comes to informing the people of the BVI. And any misconception being put out there, even a suggestion of something, it becomes something bigger than it really is.
It really does.
Sometimes some media houses, locally, internationally, regionally, put out basically clickbait out there just to
Once
drive
it's sensational,
views.
yes.
Exactly.
Sensational.
And you have to remember that the media has a responsibility.
Yeah, that is our role, and we have to be very careful because we tend to see instances most of the times people kind of run with what's negative.
Exactly.
And so it's our responsibility, like you rightfully said, to paint the picture as it is and not necessarily as what grabs more views. So viewers, that is coming out of the Deputy Governor's office. So we are imploring all our media house associates, including ourselves, because we too fall short at times.
Definitely.
We just want to ensure that we uphold a good standard and we continue to lift the standard of media in the Virgin Islands.
Agreed. Pop-up vendors on our roadsides have been a complaint for quite some time now. Entrepreneurs trying to make a quick dollar assemble their tents, set out their stocks, and they are open for business. Javon, this seems simple, but some persons aren't pleased with the practice. Last month, Mr. Claude Skelton Klein was not afraid to voice his opinion during an episode of his popular radio show. Mr. Skelton Klein said, while we do want to be industrious and while we do want to have persons express their entrepreneurial spirit, there needs to be order and there needs to be a segregated space where these kinds of marketplace business is conducted. Persons also took to social media to voice their opinions and concerns. Many persons held a similar stance to Mr. Skelton Klein, expressing that this is not the way things are done in the BVI, and they're simply against the practice of a random pop-up shop, especially in the Rolltown area. On the contrary, a local user of Facebook voiced a different sentiment. She said, the only thing I find wrong is that the marketplace where they used to be able to sell things like this and homegrown vegetables, home-cooked food is now gone. Every village and town I have been worldwide, she lists Malta, France, England, Sweden, Barbados, St. Kitts and Nevis, etc., has one. Would you prefer that people cannot have ways and means to make money and resort to breaking into people's houses instead? They are not harming anyone, and they are making money to feed their family. Come on, man. Let's have a little heart here. That's what she said, and I quote, Javon, in actuality, the debate can go on and on. Recently, the government has issued a compromise to the situation. In a recent press release by the government of the Virgin Islands, they informed the public that prior permission must be granted in order to operate pop-up shops in the Roadtown area. Persons can do so by submitting a letter to the office of the city manager at tempwcda@gmail.com. For further information, contact the office of the city manager at 284-441-8800. So, Javon, how do you feel about this? I think people are back and forth on this debate. What's your stats?
I too have mixed emotions. I think, like the latter resident said, all across the world, this is a thing. This is nothing new, pop-up shops. I think persons are worried about the aesthetics, what it looks like, dismissing the fact that somebody's out there trying to earn an honest living. You know, they're not stealing like the other person alluded to. They're not breaking into somebody's home. I think what we need to establish here in the British Virgin Islands is just a system. I know in other countries, the mayor and town council takes on the responsibility of allocating spots, and of course for a small fee to be paid, but nothing substantial, because the reality is, you know, not everybody can afford to pay a store rent. Not everybody can afford those type of responsibilities. But it shouldn't be at the expense of them making a living. So people are coming up with different ways and means of trying to get their products around. And the government, like, they stepped forward and said, I think that was the best fix for the situation.
Right now, yes.
In other countries too, another concern is, you know, some persons just set up anywhere. Sometimes that impedes traffic, you know. Sometimes it causes other issues.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's not a safe area. So again, just coming up with a space that, you know, persons can set up and rent.
Exactly.
For
I think the
a small
persons who are saying, they're not saying that it shouldn't have pop-up shops, but I think they just want some sort of rule and regulation. I think that's what we're seeing here, where
there are some persons who are concerned about how it looks. So let's put that out there. Indeed, persons are saying, you know, this is not what the BVI looks like. So people are there saying, you know, we don't want no little shops setting up on our corners because we don't want the BVI to look shabby.
But I think this is a call to action.
The wrong outlook.
I think this is a call to action to get our marketplace back up and running.
Absolutely.
You know, that's what it really, the long-term goal should really and truly be, for people to have a space to really do this type of business, because rightfully, as you said, everyone doesn't have the money to own a storefront. Yes, guys, but we do have lots more for you here on 284 News, so we'll take a commercial break and we'll be right back.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. We're moving right along. Andres Norford went before the magistrate court for the execution of Penita Caesar, who died from a brain damage and brain compression in 2017 after being shot. Detectives of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force Major Crime Team have officially charged Andres Norford. That was yesterday morning, and then yesterday afternoon he went before the court. The court heard that Norford and 2 other assailants thugs stormed Caesar's residence, and after a brief struggle, Norford fired a shot to the head, and his accomplice shot Caesar a second time. The accused trio then fled the scene in a green Suzuki Jeep, and Caesar was transported to the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital, where he died some months after. The cause: brain damage and brain compression. Now, luckily, Kyla, and this is very rare, not just in the BVI, but all across the world. Luckily, the public came forward with convicting evidence that really helped the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force to crack down on these criminals. Norford, who was tried before the court yesterday, opted to remain silent and was not made to plead due to the fact that his charge was indictable. Now, Commissioner of Police, Mr. Michael Matthews, in his official remarks said, quote, "We continue to pursue investigations into historic homicides in the territory. This particular matter in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Irma, this particular matter happened in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Irma, making the investigation more challenging and complex. The investigation has now concluded with the charging of Mr. Norford. My thoughts remain with the family and friends of Mr. Caesar," end of quote. Now, Norford was not represented yesterday. He was remanded to prison, and is due to reappear before the magistrate's court on March 26th, 2020, when the case is called. Kyla, troubling story. We all remember this way too clearly. Right after the hurricane, I think it was just 4 days after the hurricane, Caesar was executed. These three men came up to him at his residence with a machete and guns and attacked him. It was just a really scary time. We were already grappling with the horrors of Hurricane Irma.
The aftermath, yes.
Absolutely. And to hear this, to see this at such a devastating time, it was really, it was tough.
Definitely. Time for your weekly arrest blotter. Police arrest and charge Zaria James, 21, of Greenland, for theft and false accounting. She was granted bail in amount of $10,000 with one signed surety to appear before the magistrate court. Police arrest and charge Daniel Ham, 34, of Johnson's Gut, for assault occasioning actual bodily harm. He was granted bail in the amount of $5,000 with one signed surety to appear before the magistrate court. Police arrest and charge Shane Antoine, 24, of North Sound, for possession of a controlled drug and possession of a controlled drug with intent to supply to another. He was granted bail in the amount of $5,000 to appear before the magistrate court. Police arrest and charge Stephen Williams, 28, of Parcel Estate, for driving without a driver's license and driving an unlicensed and uninsured vehicle. He was granted bail in the amount of $5,000 with one signed surety to appear before the magistrate court. And police arrest and charge Roberto Leonard, 52, of Longbush, for driving without a driver's license, driving unlicensed and an uninsured vehicle, driving without a front license plate, driving without a back license plate, and driving without a policy of insurance. He was granted bail in the amount of $5,000 with one signed surety to appear before the magistrate's court. So, yeah.
A hefty arrest blotter there.
Hefty.
Police Force.
Definitely busy this week. Yes.
We have a lot more ahead. Mr. Epstein, even though he's dead, the USVI government is cracking down on his estate.
This one is going to be an interesting story.
Definitely. And a lot more. So stay tuned for more 284 News. When you need to stay connected with friends and families, abroad, the best choice for you is Freedom. CCT Freedom. With the lowest rates in the market, our Freedom plan gives you unlimited calls and texting. Plus, our Freedom One package includes 10 gigabits of super fast unlimited LTE data and unlimited calls to the BVI, USA, USVI, Canada, Puerto Rico, and UK lines. Why pay for overages when you can enjoy CCT Freedom? Stop by at one of our stores today and speak with one of our representatives to find out more about our CCT Freedom packages.
Well, what are you watching? We're back, guys. Welcome back, viewers. The name is Jeffrey Epstein. May sound familiar. Epstein was an American financier and a convicted offender and alleged human trafficker. That's a lot going on.
Are we
Javon.
still on alleged?
That's a lot. Epstein was found dead in his New York prison cell last August. As recent as 2018, reports were made that numerous young women and female children have been sex trafficked, raped, sexually assaulted, and held captive in the Virgin Islands at Epstein's secluded private island of Little St. James. St. James is a small island off the coast of St. Thomas. Although deceased, that did not stop the government of the U.S. Virgin Islands from filing a hefty civil suit against his estate. The Virgin Islands Department of Justice suit against Epstein's estate includes $56 million in cash, 2 private islands in the territory, homes in New York and Paris, New Mexico, and other assets with a total of $577 million. In the DOJ's civil suit, it states that the deceased used a web of shell companies, charitable organizations, and other corporate entities to conceal years of rape, human trafficking, and other abuse of women and young females on Little St. James and Great St. James. Epstein's operation targeted girls as young as Javon, 13 years old.
He's crazy.
It's sad. The filing of this suit brought to light some shocking details. One story of a 15-year-old victim which was forced into sexual acts with Epstein and others and then attempted to escape by swimming off of Little St. James, the lawsuit alleged. A search party captured the underage girl and returned her to captivity. The civil suit targets the Epstein estate and 6 Virgin Islands corporate entities, which was reported by the general attorney. She said this used to carry out an expansive scheme of human trafficking and sexual abuse of young women and underage girls in the Virgin Islands.
Well, Kyla, we've been following this story for quite a number of months. It seemed very bizarre when we came across it for the first time, but apparently rumors were already going around for years of the possibility of girls being trafficked on that island. As you can see, based on where he lived, it was not very accessible. You know, the only way you could leave is by swimming away or by boat, or if you were like Mr. Epstein, you had a private plane, but very difficult to escape. And to know that, you know, this man created a web of women, or I should say girls, not women, trafficking them to his private properties and recruiting them on the basis of modeling contracts, which was, you know, alarming. And then, of course, forcing them into sexual acts is just unnerving
to think about. 13, like that crawls my blood. Like that's crazy. But definitely, I guess for us now living in the Virgin Islands, archipelago of islands, I think we have to really look at who are we. Who are around us? Who are our neighbors? A lot of millionaires and high-profile people are buying the islands around us. And yes, it is an investment, but this makes you
question everything. It makes you question everything. When you look at persons who are being raped or sexually abused, it's either the rich and the famous, or it's somebody that's really close to home. And so we have to really be mindful of, you know, what's, like you said, what's going on around us. But I'm very happy to see the USVI government cramping down on his estate, because while he may have died, these victims, these hundreds of girls, because they raided his home one time and found naked pictures of hundreds of little girls. So this man was clearly rich, but he was clearly also very perverted. So we have to be careful with that. I'm very glad to see them suing his estate because these girls deserve some amount of justice. And him dying is, I don't think that's good enough.
Exactly.
You know, there was also supposedly this little black book that had names that of persons, rich and famous as well, that he was affiliated with, who apparently too, or allegedly too, was a part of this ring. And so we have to continue to crack down on these people and also set a precedent. And I think what the USVI government is doing is trying to set that very precedent. So I'm happy to see this.
Agreed.
Viewers right in the USVI as well, this time in St. Croix. I know many of you may recall Ms. Violet Ann Golden, the former chairperson of the Virgin Islands Casino Control Commission, who was charged in a 30-count indictment for embezzlement. Well, previous reports suggested that she will not face jail time, but on January 14th, which was, of course, 2 days ago, United States Attorney Gretchen Shepard for the District of the Virgin Islands announced that Violet pleaded guilty to the theft of government funds and failing to file an income tax return, and was remanded to federal custody pending her sentencing, which is now scheduled for May 14th, 2020. Now, according to the plea deal filed in the case, Ms. Golden admitted to diverting nearly $300,000 in commission funds for her own personal benefit and benefits of others through bank wires, writing commission checks, and using commission credit cards. In addition, Ms. Golden failed to file an income tax return despite earning an annual salary of $105,000. This case is being investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Office of the Virgin Islands Inspector General, and the IRS Criminal Investigations. It is being prosecuted by the Assistant United States Attorney, Nathan Crooks. Now, Ms. Golden was originally charged in a 30-count indictment on July 17th, that's last year, along with an alleged co-conspirator, Stephanie Barnes, alleging that the pair conspired to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars in commission funds. She subsequently agreed to a plea deal, which was signed on December 19th, where she conceded that the federal government could convict her on counts 4 and 27 of the 30-count indictment. Now, according to the original indictment, Ms. Golden and Ms. Barnes used commission money for a variety of personal expenditures, including, but not limited to, trips to Walt Disney World, tickets to a Broadway production of Hamilton, and making a down payment for the purchase of a vehicle. Their publicly funded lavish lifestyle allegedly included travel to St. Kitts Music Festival aboard a private jet, stays at a posh Ritz-Carlton hotel in New York, and thousands of dollars worth of jewelry and clothing from high-end retailers. The indictment also alleged that Ms. Golden, who had an annual salary of $105,000, failed to file her timely tax returns for the years 2014 through 2017. So, Kyla, another case where we see a person in a lead position, of course, embezzling government funds for personal pleasure, doing the most with the government's funds, but being convicted, and even though it's part of the conviction, the 30-count indictment, we do see some form of justice being served, and the court really coming through for us on this one.
I definitely agree. When we first reported on this, we really thought it seemed as though she would just get like a slap on the wrist, but
yeah, she's gonna serve some time. She's in there until May, and hopefully she's going to stay there.
To see. Yes, definitely. That's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to visit us at 284media or 284news.com. Like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
And I am Javon Wilson. We'll see you again tomorrow as we deliver your daily dose of local, regional, and international content. This is 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news, right here on 284 Media. Have a great day, everyone.
How may I assist you? You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power? Hello?
Wait, you had a long
What happened to our wedding rehearsal?
No, babe. I'm actually watching the news right now. Take a listen.
Topping our newscast today, UFOs seen around Tortola Pier Park.
And District 3 residents outraged over no water supply. They simply cannot bathe. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
All right, babe, just get some rest, take 2 Advil, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Okay, honey. I see you later. I love you.
It's clear to see that Coconut Lounge is a place to be, the coolest cocktail lounge in the British Virgin Islands. A lounge like no other, with welcoming, professional service, and a breathtaking ambiance. Not forgetting a diverse selection of wines, beers, and signature cocktails. Cozy, comfortable, contemporary. Coconut Lounge at Tortola Pier Park. Visit us today.